seems that even when you're not in vogue, you can be in vogue if, of course, you are a former royal like Meghan Markle. Apparently, well, there's a new battle emerging over this time two TV executives, and apparently who thinks Meghan's worth a lot of money and the other one simply doesn't. As ever, let me explain. Hi, morning, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join me today. Nice to have your company. Isn't this, I don't know what it is, but it's a really nice bush here, isn't it? And I just thought, wow, I love the colour. Yeah, do you? I just like anything golden, sunny, even though it's not sunny here, as you can see today. Not the best of days. Started off well, and now, of course, well, here we are again. We've had so much rain over here in the United Kingdom. I'm sure it's been very difficult in your part of the world. But if you look back in the history books, weather, it appears, seems to be very interchangeable. And while people might talk a lot about climate change, there's always strange variants that you can look back and say, well, in 1902 it snowed or whatever. You know what I mean? There's always something, isn't there? Back as ever to your royal story of the day. A couple of weeks back now, we told you this about really, I thought it was kind of fascinating in many respects, because when you look at old TV shows, you see them a lot, don't you? A friend of mine was talking to me about a TV show the other day called Monk. Do you remember that? Adrian Monk, the detective, with some sort of OHD, AHD or something like that. And I thought, wow, that's a few years since I've seen that. Over 25 years. Well, where did that go, eh? But what's interesting here, as you can see, is that the BBC have now decided to buy in Suits. And this has created something of a bit of a havoc for a rival channel, the commercial channel ITV. And what's interesting here is the boss of ITV, the head commissioner, Kevin Ligo, has basically accused the BBC of wasting taxpayers' money, licence fees payers' money, on a series that he claims, well, wasn't really worth it. Then it emerged, of course, that ITV were trying to buy the series themselves. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because whichever you decide to believe, this is the man, of course, who basically said, alongside the head of ITV, Carolyn McCall, that they saw nothing improprietary about, of course, the Philip Schofield scandal. They never saw anything in all of the years that they were there. Interesting to see, isn't it, how memories fade, memories fail. Do you know what I'm saying? But Mr. Ligo has obviously decided that he wouldn't have minded a slice of the action of Suits. Now, have the BBC actually been wasting money on Meghan Markle? Apparently they're accusing them of being sympathisers, trying to suck up to Miss Markle so she may come on and do some work for them. Well, what I can tell you is the show was worth peanuts to the BBC. I mean, you couldn't have really got it cheaper, other than being in the public domain. It wasn't an expensive series to buy. It's been banging around now on all sorts of channels for years. It's certainly not a Friends, so it's not the big book deal, do you know? What the BBC really were trying to do was to see whether they could get something going alongside the new show for NBC Universal, perhaps take the very first series of that. That will be minus Meghan Markle. So really, they're not supporting at all. Now, I'm not defending either channel, but it does seem to be something of a storm in a teacup. And really, Meghan, once again, is at the centre of it. And they'll get some headlines. But either way, Mr. Ligo is definitely pushing it to say that the BBC have wasted money. Literally, it is pennies per episode. It's not really worth the battle. But more importantly, of course, in the battle of ratings, money wasting, viewership, whatever you want to call it, two commercial titans try and battle it out to get our attention for their small screen, and seemingly by using one's favourite member of the British monarchy. Now, who do you believe? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.